Morning, everybody. To forgive me, I'm gonna sit here for a second and make sure the stream actually starts. I know it's yesterday. Yeah, there it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, yesterday, I don't know, I rambled on for, it must have been like 5 minutes before the stream started. That was weird. Alright. So today, no new update today on on this build. This is still the same build from yesterday. So yeah, because my list is small. Awesome. I got one feature request from the forum, and that was just to add names to coach profile, which I already got that done, but it wasn't worth making a new build on. I'm gonna hang on to that and see if anything comes out of the stream or the video or whatever, and we'll see if there's any bugs to fix or any AI to tweak or anything like that. So that means games and off seasons today. That'll be fun. Low pressure. I'll probably ramble on about the next project just because I'm in the process of setting it up and I'm thinking through some things. And I'm thinking through some things that I had troubles with in this game. But I found a way to deal with it. But I'm wrestling with is there a way to be smarter about it in the next game? So as we get to things, I might start rambling on just because it's in my mind. All right, so my roster. Now, I don't know why this surprised me, but it did. Duffy is a really good runner. I have no idea why he looks like he doesn't know what's going on when he starts running the ball. I mean, he's never going to break a tackle, but man, a 92 running, this guy should be just lighting it up when he's running around. I don't know. That surprised me. Well, wait, hang on. Now that I'm thinking about it, okay, yeah. So that's legit. He didn't just have a boom or something. Yeah, I don't know. Surprised me. He should be better than he is. Maybe this running back's getting in his way. So one thing I did as I was setting up and just kind of making sure my depth is right, I did make 2 trade offers. Because I'm just purely running the ball with my quarterback and throwing screens to wide receiver 1. I'm probably going to make a couple of moves. I got to upgrade my defense a little bit. So I'm willing to sacrifice wide receiver 3 for some defense. So I made 2 offers. Henderson I'm going to move for either a young safety / corner or, well, and special teamer. The guy's going to be awesome on special teams. Or D lineman. I could take either. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm going to get rid of that D lineman. I only want that safety. So, we're trying to make that move. If we make it, we might have a problem at wide receiver 3, but maybe I'll move like this guy over to wide receiver 3. Just for blocking reasons. I don't ever anticipate throwing to the third wide receiver. Anyway, so that's the only thing we're really doing when it comes to the roster. So let's get into the schedule. Sasquatch. Let's take a look at them. I don't remember how they are set up. All right, passing quarterback, receiving running back, a couple of receivers, tight end, good tight end, line, kind of a standard defense. They're not so bad. Let's check out their offense. All right, so they're a passing offense. I don't really need to play them. Let's sim that one. Oh, wait. We got to see if I got my... Yep. Good deal. Yeah, your trades almost always go through because... well, first of all, they almost always go through because you're off... When you're shopping, your offers are... or the AI is sort of being, I don't know if stingy is the right word, but stingy might be the right word. They're making you pay a little more and then they're making everybody else. And the reason they're doing that is because if you make an offer to them, I wanted your offer to be the best offer when they're reviewing their trades. So like I offered, what was it, the Sharks or the Nightmare, one of the blue teams. I made that offer to them. The way that works behind the scenes is that just gets filed in their list of offers. So every AI team has this list as well. And what they do is they go through it and they pick the best one. So I just wanted to make sure that your whatever you offered them ends up at the top of that list, right? I just, if I'm going to allow you to shop for players, it kind of makes sense that, when you find one you like, that it actually works. So that was the thought behind that. All right. Yeah, so it's going to be really rare that you make an offer and it doesn't go through. All right, let's see. The Storm. I don't want to play the Storm. Swarm, Horde. Ooh, I like the Horde. Let's play the Horde. Well, the Magma might be alright too. I think, if I remember right. Oh, I'm kind of jumping too quick. Yeah, I knew I was going to do that. I'm giving up a lot of points. Yikes. Maybe the Phoenix. I think the Phoenix are just normal offense. Let's check them out. Good quarterback. Passing offense. What are they? They got a really good running back. Receiving running back. This team could be a challenge. Let's play them. Wait, do I have any of the running quarterback teams? Let's check that. Was it the Kraken? Or the Horde? What's the Horde run? Alright, so they're a passing team. The Kraken. Oh, running quarterback team. Let's play the Kraken. Oh man, I got doing pretty well. God, giving up a lot of points. Kraken. Save it. Let's just double check my team. I don't want to go into lose free agents that I don't really want to lose. Ricky Leonard, do I want to lose him? He's, you know what? He's good enough for 18 bucks. Brett Ellison. Oh, man, I don't know if he's worth $26. I want to keep my kicker. This guy. He's my kick returner. He's not great at that either. I think I could use that money better elsewhere. And I need to have roster spots, so this will give me 4 roster spots. I think I can do with that. Alright, so that's what we're going to go with. Now let's play. Oh, yeah. Oh, I did change the logo. It's just I'm still loading from the team file that had the white logo. So, but that's changed in the startups. Both my D linemen are not great. So, oh man, oh, he had a guy wide open. All right, I'm gonna do this handoff until. Oh boy, this is. I kind of want to bring my safety up, but I'm a little worried. Oh, good, good. God, that quarterback's going to be deadly. All right, let's try my favorite sweep. Oh, they're a man defense team. Okay. Let's try a delay. Oof. Oof. That wasn't good. I just need to get a couple of yards. Let's try a dive. Yes! Oh! Oh! Nice! They're gonna run man. Let's try this all stop now. Yeah, I fixed that defensive coverage issue, so... What in the world is that guy? Oh, it was two guys. Never mind. He's open! This guy's open! That guy must be super fast. That was disappointing. Let's try this sweep. Oh, nice! What are those blockers doing? Well, I know what they were doing. They're just such bad blockers that they didn't get the memo that they needed a block. What's that guy doing? Alright, this was good to me. I'm going to try a pass rush, though. Yeah, they must have a great quarterback. He can run and pass? Jeez. I gotta really play it safe here. Oh my god. That's kind of cool, the wide receiver dive play. Oh my god. Did I stop him? Oh no, one more. Come on, guys. They would love that play. Having the safety come up... well, actually, I should say, my safety hasn't really contributed to the play yet, so maybe putting him back in zone's okay. Well, they love these wide receiver run plays. Holy cow. Oh, man. Yep. Oh! Oh, good thing he has no accuracy. Oh, I saw that coming. Yikes. Yeah, if that guy gets around that corner, oh boy. That guy must be good. Let's maybe blitz. Oh, that did not. Let's try again. Oh no. Yeah, he got in. Alright, halfway through the game. Here we go. Touchdown for touchdown. Oh, that was a nice move. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Yes! Yeah, you deserve that dance, Ellison. Nice! Alright. Oh, man. I had no idea my team was going to be that good on special teams. Oh, oof. Okay, they're all covered. They're all covered. Good. Oh, no. God, they were all covered, too. I did my job. Nice. Nice. That linebacker. My linebacking core is... I'm very happy with how they're playing. I'm not in love with my safeties. But man, that line... Well, and definitely... Oh, God! They must have a terrible kicker. Yeah, probably that's why my kick return is so good. Oh, finally, they blocked. There we go. I just did that one. I gotta mix up my play. Let's sprint. do like the sprint plays. I don't use these enough. That was a good one. That was a good play. All right. Oh, oh, dance. So my quarterback running is definitely working, which is good because I feel like I have no chance of passing on this defense. Oh, no, no! Oh, that's the one area this play is super vulnerable to. Just the guy straight up the middle. Ah! You don't see it that often, but it's vulnerable to that. Let's try blitzing the first Donovan. Well, on a running play is not gonna. Boy. Ooh. Yeah, he almost lost himself that first down. Oh, good defense. Good defense. Oh, man. That block. That was a good block. This is one of those cases where I think, oh my God. How in the world? What in the world? Like, I know it's been a long time since I've had this kind of success. What in the world? Is my kick coverage, my kick blocking that good? I gotta figure out what I'm doing right and try to recreate it more often. Maybe these guys are just that bad. Oh, look at them. There we go. Everybody dance. No passing. Well, that's my team. Wow. I'm very Shannon. Who's Shannon? Let's figure out who Shannon is. We gotta be happy with this guy. Oh, my second linebacker. Oh, yeah, he's really good. Never mind. Yeah, my linebackers are great in run defense. Really good. I mean, Shannon will miss a tackle or two, which you saw a couple of those touchdowns, I think, were him missing tackles. But, yeah, that's kind of the strength of my defense right now. Cool. That worked out. We'll auto let them kind of adjust their depth chart now that I've got some improvement on some players. Nice, nice, nice. I don't think there's anything I need to do. Alright, I'll finish out the week. Let's save it before we keep going. So the Iceberg. Panthers. So the Iceberg are an option, or not an option, a quarterback run team. Oh, the machine. Ah, King Havo's here. Hey. Just laying some down on tape. Oh, man, the Tigers. See, this surprises me because the Tigers was their running offense, number 3. If you look, I probably already kind of brought this up, but if you look at the Tigers, this was that pure power team, which, frankly, in this game engine, I did not think was going to be very valuable. Yeah, so like their quarterback is garbage. He's got 81 skill, but his strength is 54. Well, I guess if you're not throwing deep, who cares? But, you know, as a general quarterback, he's not great. He's a 68. But elite running back, really great running back. Only one wide receiver who actually kind of sucks, a 48 at wide receiver. but 2 tight ends and 3 great offensive linemen and 3 great defensive linemen. That's what the Tigers are all about. It's just a pure, pure power. Got a question about player positions. Ha! Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, depth charts and player positions, because that's exactly what I was working on this morning. So the way I store it now, so if we go to a team, let me just go to a team. The way I store, so players don't have positions themselves, but the depth chart is ordered by position. So every team has a depth chart of like quarterback 1, the way it goes, quarterback 1, and then I go running back 1, 2, 3, wide receiver 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the reason I go 5 is because I at one point I was going to do 11 players, but it was too laggy, so I stuck with 8. But anyway, in any case, and then it goes tight end 1, 2, 3, and each of those positions is actually a specific slot in the depth chart that is explicitly assigned to like wide receiver 2. So it's like if I go to my team, it's my team dot my depth chart dot wide receiver 2 equals, and then I put a player controller in there. So every team has every single possible player position in the depth chart, and then it either has a player assigned to it or it has a null. That works really, really well, and it's very low risk for bugs. The problem is it's really hard to use. So every time you want to find out what a player's position is, you gotta like cycle through every position in the depth chart. It's not even cycling. You have to explicitly look at every position and say, okay, is this the player? No. Is this one the player? No. Is this one the player? And it's a huge pain in the butt. But it's incredibly stable. The other thing I'm able to do with this is I have my depth chart is really easy to compare to coach profiles to see, because so coach profiles I have like a Boolean that says, do I use wide receiver 3, like what do I call it, active wide receiver 3, and it's a true or false, and if it's true, that coach runs a wide receiver 3, and then it's really easy to go back and check, okay, well, wide receiver 3 equals this player. So those two work really well together. Outside of that, it's really hard to use, so I'm trying to redesign it for the coach game. I want to put it in a list. Somehow put it in a list so I can just cycle them all really quick and just pull out the one I want. I just started that this morning, so it's not working yet. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just have a list of depth chart slots. And each slot is going to consist of a player, a reference to a player controller, and a string that lists what depth chart slot that is. So like I may have, in my depth chart list, the first one might be, it's Wayne Smith is his player, and then position equals, quote, OL3. So I'll just use the string to designate what position he is in there. And that way I can search really quick. I can say, who's playing OL3? Well, I'll just cycle them and find OL3 and then see which player that references. The downside of that is checking to make sure you have a full depth chart is going to be hard. You have them inside player properties and using depth position properties. Oh, you have them in the player. Yeah, I think... No, I didn't do that. When I did it in TextSim version, that's how I did it too. I assigned depth to player. Once I started having player movement, though, between teams, that became hard to manage. And it became a little buggy. So I've started to assign... This is almost arbitrary, but you got to assign a depth chart somewhere. Somebody has to own a depth chart. So I have the teams own the depth chart. I have the coaches own roster constraints. And I have players just assigned into slots. So that if a player leaves... I I don't have to change anything on the player. I just have to clear wherever they were in the depth chart. Yeah, I remember assigning them to players, and it worked. You just have to create your systems around it, but oh, you get to player routes just on positions without depth. Yeah, that's now that you mention it, that's something I gotta figure out how that works with my list idea. Because right now, in my play, so each player inside of a play has a little block of code. In that block, the first thing on the block is called position in play, and that's this string right here, right? That's wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 1, OL. Like that's the first thing that pops out of their thing, and then I use that variable to then say, oh, okay, you're wide receiver 1. What's your starting position? And then you have a route, and that kicks, or what's your role as a wide receiver 1? Oh, it's receiving. Okay, then you get kicked into route running AI and all that stuff. But in the play, I say, oh, you're wide receiver 1. Now I go to depth chart, team.depth chart, and say, okay, pull out wide receiver 1. Okay, that's the player now. Now I assign the play. I write all of those variables for the route into the player. And then the route variables are stored on the player. But that's the connection to a depth chart. So that might be kind of convoluted, but I know from it just kind of helps me keep everything separate. So I have like an in-game AI. I call it the player in-game controller. That's where I assign everything that a player uses in game, like routes and things like that. That's part of the player controller. So it's like team, play, team, depth chart position, find the player in-game controller. Okay, now write all that stuff from the play to that. And now it's stored on the player. But I just didn't want it stored on the player when he wasn't actually playing a game. Yeah, when I try to explain it, that sounds really convoluted now. But, I don't know, it worked. It kept everything really separated. So what about combining pro and depth? Combining position and depth together. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going through now. So I'm wrestling with roster makeup. So like, some teams are, let's say you're a team that runs 5 wide. You want 5 wide receivers. Probably plus a couple of subs or development players. Whereas like if you're the Tigers and you have 1 wide receiver, well, what are those other 4 or 5 wide receiver slots for? Maybe I want those for tight ends and running backs. How does that work for saving and loading depth charts and plays? So, all right, say I then make position, depth chart position, or let me say position less important. Well, what if I'm a 5 wide team and I want to run a goal line play that has tight ends? What happens then? Do I just automatically sub other players in there? It just gets really weird. So for me, I think the simplest solution for me is to keep depth chart as explicit as possible. Like wide receiver 2 means wide receiver 2. You may not ever fill that position, but it exists. And if it equals null, that means you're not starting a wide receiver 2. So I can go all the way to like wide receiver 10 if I wanted to. And I would just say, well, this play doesn't call for wide receiver 10, so don't worry about it. This coach doesn't have a wide receiver 10 on his roster, so don't worry about it. But maybe this one does. Okay, well, it's there if you need it. It ends up being a lot more data checks and saving and loading, but I found, at least for me, it just having it explicit makes it easier. It's nice. It's less flexible. Yeah, I know. I'm dreading. That's been the one thing that really I've struck. The most frustration I've had in writing this game is dealing with explicit depth charts. Because just the sheer number of times I have to go down every single depth chart position and write something like, if linebacker 1 equals blank, then this. If linebacker 2 equals blank, then this. If cornerback 1 equals blank, it's just like, the number of times I have to do that for, like, signing free agents, trading, auto depth chart, drafting. It's ridiculous. But it's incredibly specific and super useful. So I really want to do a list, but the more I'm kind of figuring it out, the more I'm realizing you just got to grind it out and do the explicit depth charts. The list sounds really elegant, but I've just started working with it, and I've already started figuring out all kinds of bugs I'd have to overcome. And then once you put in all the bug checking and the data integrity checking, did it really become easier? That part sucks. Especially now that I'm going to go to 40 roster spots. Ugh. I'm not looking forward to that. I gotta find a better way, or at least like do it explicitly, but maybe this is what I gotta do is I gotta make dedicated tools so that I don't have to keep rewriting this stuff. Just say, hey, here's a tool, find player in depth chart, something like that. You could have a minimum requirement so every player has enough players for position. Yeah, that's actually how I have this game set up. All right, that's how I did set it up. And that's part of the reason why every team has a specific roster style. That came from that idea, like you just said, minimum requirements by play. I didn't want every team to have the same roster. Like, I really want some teams to be 4 wide and some teams to be power. So that's why coaches only allow you to set those depth chart spots, is because I know every single play in that coach's playbook will use this set of depth chart players. I don't have to worry about, what happens if I don't have a wide receiver 3? No, because any coach that runs a wide receiver 3 will always have a wide receiver 3, and every play that he has will utilize wide receiver 3. So I don't run into those weird situations where a 5 wide team wants to run a goal line play. That's why this system is the way it is, and it's super rigid and it's totally inflexible. And the first few times people have downloaded this game and played it, universally they hate that. But then when they get used to it, they're like, oh, okay, I get it now. They all hate it right away. The coach game, I want to go away from this though. I want to have flexible rosters, and that's why I'm struggling with it right now. I'm starting to land on using the same sort of system though. Just a massive list of all the possible depth chart positions I allow in the game, and let the coaches decide which ones they use. It sucks. I'll have to check them all for things. I'll have to evaluate them all for roster building. I'll have to save and load them all in files, but maybe it's the best way to go. I don't know. Positional evaluation's the worst though when it comes to this stuff. God, I wish I had a list, but the only thing a list solves is my coding time. It doesn't solve any of the other problems. So I think maybe I just gotta suck it up. The one thing I'm thinking of doing though, now that you mention it about roster minimums and that, I'm thinking I may do an explicit depth chart for what is required by pretty much every coach. And then I'm thinking of having a block of, like, I did the math out of, let's see, 23, 32, of having nearly 10 flex positions is what I'm calling them in the code, where it doesn't matter what you put there. If you run 5 wide, you use 4 I have 5. Let's just say I have I require you to have 2 wide receivers. But that's up to you if you want to use your flex positions for 4 more wide receivers. That's your call. Um, and if you call a 3 tight end play and you only have 2 guys that are one guy that's actually a tight end, well, then you know what? It gets filled with guys who suck at tight end. I might do that. Start with real life sim. Yeah, yeah. I know. It's one of those things you think, all right, how would I do this in real life? And then you start to draw it up, and you're like, this would suck. This really sucks. I can't. There's no way I can maintain this. So then you're thinking your tricks. How do I do it then? I'm at the point now where it's all about debugging for me. Um, if I have to spend another hour coding a function or a series of functions for something small, but after that hour I know it's rock solid for every situation, that's probably the smartest way to go. Sometimes I overthink things, and I probably make them harder than they need to be. When it's really like, no, just make it work and make it rock solid and just move on. You're running a real 52. Oh, see, that's gonna be tough. Because once you get past the first 40, let's just say 35 players, well, yeah, first actual, what, 11 plus 11 plus, let's say, 5 for special teams, right? Get past the first 25, 26 roster spots. What do the second 26 look like? How are you going to store those? That's going to be tough. If I were doing 52, well, let me put it this way. I'm doing 40 right now, but only 25 of those are actual legit. Hey, a team needs to have a running back one. The other 15, I don't know how I'm going to evaluate how a coach knows how to fill that without saying, oh, well, this coach needs 2 extra running backs because of his style. How do you define that? A, he needs them. B, that he doesn't already have them. Or C, that somebody else on the roster couldn't already fill that position but isn't filling it now, without explicitly having a running back 2 and running back 3 slot. I can't think of a way to do that. A list of team players. Yeah, more what I'm thinking about is team evaluation. So having the list of players, yeah, I get that, makes perfect sense, and figuring out which one's best at each position makes perfect sense. I'm thinking more in the back end of the roster when you're outside of the starters, like things like having a backup running back or having a backup quarterback. When you're doing, I'm thinking of the evaluation loop that a coach would do through players, and how would he say, I need a backup quarterback unless I have a specific QB2 slot with something in there or nothing in there to compare it to the player I'm looking at. Like, that's where I think the explicit depth charting actually has its power, is when you're evaluating other players based on what you have. The system I'm building right now for the coach game has a list, and I don't know. That's what I'm running up against. Is I don't know how to evaluate my roster when it's just a list of players without explicit depth chart positions. Like, I don't know how to evaluate like second, third, and fourth down the list to say A, I need it, and B, this player fits there. The I need it is the tough part, without writing a whole, basically recreating the depth chart and says, hey, if I'm a passing team, check wide receiver 3. If I'm a running team, check running back 3. And then I'm just recreating the problem I had before. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking it through as I'm talking. I think I've kind of talked myself into continuing my explicit depth chart system. Yeah, I think I've talked myself into it. Injuries. That's another reason. Yeah, I'm going to have injuries. I've already got it in my player controller for the next one. Um, Now, if you have a star running back who's injured, you need somebody else to play for him. Unless he's not injured that bad, in which case he would continue to play, which gets us back to player evaluation. And you need to know if running back is injured, I need somebody to take running back's position, but then somebody's got to take that guy's position. And you're back to, okay, I have to evaluate running backs from top to bottom. How deep do I need to go? The easiest way to know that is to know how many active running back slots I have. And the easiest way to get that is to have explicit running back 1, running back 2, running back 3. Yeah. Oh, when I say evaluations, I'm thinking like I'm using that as a generic term for how good is this player at this position. And my system, maybe your system will be different. I don't know. My system, now that I'm at the skill system, coaches actually take all the players' skills and crunch them together and say, spit out he's this good at running back. He's this good at wide receiver. And to be able to know how to do that, I got to kind of know where the open roster spots are, or the open depth chart spots are. So like if I have a quarterback who's rated as 85 and quarterback 2 is rated at like say 40, and quarterback 3 is like a 20. Well, now I know, there's a couple things I know now. I know I have a quarterback 2 and a quarterback 3 slot. I know what the player value is at both of those spots. So now as my coach is going from every player in the draft and saying, should I draft this guy? He knows to compare it to quarterback, say draft player is rated 60 at quarterback. Well, I already know who I have quarterback 1 because QB1 equals this player. He's 85. I'm not even going to bother anybody for that slot. Quarterback 2 is 40. Oh, well, this player is better than quarterback 2. And I know that this team needs a quarterback 2, so maybe he'll fit there. Quarterback 3, same thing. Go down like say running backs. I only have one running back active on in my depth chart. I only use one running back. So when I evaluate the rookies, I say, are you better in running back 1? No. Oh, this team doesn't use a running back 2. I can skip all that. Go down to wide receiver now. That's what I'm thinking when I talk about player evaluation against depth chart slots. That's really easy. But that's really hard. That's a lot of time to code. I think I kind of talked myself into doing it anyway, though. Plus, it allows you to have really different roster makeups. So, like the Tigers. This is a good example. The Tigers, that's my team. Where are the Tigers? They're a pure power team. They have one wide receiver. They're not going to fill up roster spots with extra wide receivers. Whereas like the Twisters who run 4 wide are going to load up on wide receivers. That's where I think that explicit depth chart system works really, really well. Yep. You're right. It comes down to the flex positions. It's not the starters. The starters are easy for every system, right? You just pick the best guys at each position. It's the bench. And how do you use the bench? That's really where it comes into play. And that's where I found it works. Like I was just saying, it works great for like a game like this where you want really different roster types, is because you get to define what that bench looks like. And then you can have coaches fill the benches differently. I think in the system I drew up this morning with the list, where it's just a list basically, and you're getting the top end is still the same, but I think the bench becomes more difficult to manage, and I don't know that I want that now that we've kind of talked it out. I really want the bench to be just as easy to manage. It's one thing I really want, especially in college. You got to have guys ready to move in for guys who are graduating. So I got a quarterback who's a junior. I need to have a quarterback sitting on the bench. I can't just have a good player on the bench. I need a quarterback. Because when that guy goes, I got to have somebody to step in. Yeah. Yeah, it's not just talent. It's talent plus position specific skill. So, yeah, I think I'm going to continue the same. Explicitly, depth charts are just a list of positions that reference a player or an empty spot. And then that means my play calling system is going to be this, or my play file system is going to be the same. Play files, first they're going to reference a depth chart slot. Just like a bench strategy will be based on subs and stamina. Oh. Yeah, I mean, if you're not doing team building and long-term team strategy, I think there's a lot easier ways to do it than I'm doing it. Yeah, mine's painful. It's really painful. Like I said, it's the most frustrating thing I do all the time, is dealing with depth chart. But I think it'll work. And I think it'll be easy to control. And I think it will be easy. Oh, here's I didn't even think about this till right now. I am going to have an integrated play designer in the coach game. That means it has to be flexible enough that players can put different packages and personnel in. And that means plays have to be very easy for a player assignment to link back to the depth chart position. So I kind of have to do, I have to keep the same system going. Otherwise, I got to redesign the plays from scratch, like how I even do plays. And that works really well in this game, so I might as well continue to use that too. Yeah, I've talked myself into it. Yeah, I'm sticking with that. Yeah, plus I do really want to have, like, one of the ideas I have, as I'm drawing it up, I want to have some teams run 5D line. I really do. Like, there are two offenses I want to be able to run. I want to run 5D line if I want, and I want to be able to run 5 wide. You got to be able to run both of those. And the wishbone. 3. So, in order to make that work, and to make it work within the play designer, I got to have explicit depth chart positions. Requirement mins fit every play will be fine. Yeah. That's probably where I'll start. I'll start with that. Maybe it's a mix. It's requirement section and then just a list of flex players. That could work too. Because then I don't always have to check, like, wide receiver 7. Like, no play uses wide receiver 7. Stop at 5, and everything else is a flex player. That could work. Yeah. Like running back 4. There's no play has running back 4. But running back 4 could be a flex player. Yeah, that could work. That's probably a good compromise. That'll cut down on some of the grind, but also leave some good roster flexibility. Teams limit what plays and coaches, not the player. Limiting the plays. Yeah, that's actually probably a really good way to do it too. One of the things I'm gonna try in this is have dynamic plays. I'm designing a dynamic play system where the only coach that actually has plays, like predefined plays, is the human coach. The AI coaches are going to generate their plays on the fly in the middle of the game. And the reason I want to do that is because I have a library in this game of nearly 1,000 plays. It's ridiculous. It's just so much, and it's hard to manage. And 90% of the plays nobody's ever going to see, except when the computer runs them. So I'm thinking, why am I managing all this data that nobody's ever looking at? And all I really want is the coaches to call plays that fit their roster. That play doesn't have to exist before they line up or before they go in the huddle. So why not in the huddle just, simulate the quarterback getting down on his knee and drawing the play in the dirt? Hey, I have a great wide receiver, so wide receiver one, here's your list of routes. I want to pick this one based on the situation. I want you to run a deep in. Tight end, we're he's doing a deep end, so I want you to drag short across the middle because you're a good receiver. Oh, running back, this is, third and long, so I need you to stay in and blitz protect. Wide receiver 2, just run a fly because you suck. Basically draw it up in the dirt, and then they all go to the line and they just run their play. If I do that every single play for the computer, I only need to store the plays that the human makes. That's an idea I have. But that means I can't limit, I can't use the play to limit coaches. Personnel. So the coach is going to create personnel and then build a play based on the personnel. So I'm kind of doing it backwards. Of course, I have no idea if that system's going to work. But in theory, it sounds great. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to work, though. It would be cool if it did, because I think of the possibilities if that works. Oh, man, what a good team. The possibilities that a system like that would work, I could do so many things for like a practice field. I could do, if I have it set up so you can tell the player what to do right before he does it. Oh my God, mini games, like training camp, scouting combine, like you could have players do all kinds of things, and you wouldn't have to store any of this stuff because you'd already have a system that generated it on the fly. Say I wanted them to run a cone drill. Well, the AI is already there to create that route on the fly. Just, hey, players line up. Here's your route. Go. That'd be awesome. I didn't make it. All right, finish that week. Yeah, my game is so coaching specific too. Everything is focused on the coaches, so that's kind of why I'm probably going way overboard on having coaches define everything and having the game define as little as possible. I think it'll be cool. I don't know. I hope so. It'll be different at least. That's something. South Alabama? What in the world? I didn't even know I had a South Alabama. Oof. Yeah. My college teams always beat up on each other. Like the teams in the bad conferences. No problem. No problem. It's funny. I was going to talk about this stuff anyway, but, unless somebody asks, I don't really have a reason to talk about it. All right. Who happened here? South Alabama won. Who'd they beat? Iowa. Iowa won. Okay. Well, at least that's working out. Yeah, it's working out. I think it's working just fine. All right. So we saved. Let's save again. Let's just go into the off season. I'm curious. I did make a maybe we want to change our defense. No, I'm doing fine. I wouldn't mind going to a 3 linebacker defense though. Nope. Nope. I'm going to do fine. I'm doing fine. Holy moly. Whoa. Quarterback heavy draft. Insane. Yikes. All right, let's check my team. Any retirements? No retirements. 1, 2, 3, 4 roster spots. Okay. I know what I need. Let's just go. Of course, 31st pick. Alright, can I get the top pick? No. Spider's going with the top quarterback. Ooh. The Sharks reaching for a wide receiver, it looks like. It's a good wide receiver, though. Blues looking at somebody in the defense. Nope. Oh, that would have been a great offensive lineman. Wait a second. Oh, no, my guy's better. He's a rookie, though. No. Nope. Maybe? He's cheaper, too. Nah. Is that who I would take? Nah. Nope. I'm gonna hang out with my guys. Oh, the Swarm getting a quarterback finally. Good for them. I think we're at the point where I don't believe I would trade up for any of these guys. Let's go to my pick. Alright, what do we got? What do we have here? I know I need a wideout. That's not happening. I know I need a D lineman. That's not happening. Linebacker? Maybe. Corner? Safety? God. Picking at the back of the draft sucks. Alright, let's try to let's replace that blocking wide receiver if I can. Can you explain how the draft works? Oh! Yeah. So the way this works is, here, I'll make, well, so basically, you can rank these guys by, well, first of all, you can show them by skills. This is the skill system. This is all the skills that work in the game engine. It's like pass skill, pass strength, running, break tackle, receiving. These are literally every skill that the game engine uses and how they're rated. You go by position, and this is when I talk about that calculation for how good is this guy at a quarterback, how good is he at running back. That's what you're seeing here. These are the calculations of my coach telling me how good he thinks this player is at tight end. So if I go back to the skills, you can see why. And you can say, oh, he's got a little bit of receiving. He's pretty good at run block. That's why my coach thinks he's a good tight end. So that's what these mean. Now, down here, there are a bunch of things like get offers. This space down here shows trade offers for the current pick. So when I was hitting make pick and the AI teams were going, I would click make pick, and then like a couple of players would show up down here. Those are my players, and those are the players that the team that's on the clock would trade that pick for. So a lot of times my starting quarterback was here. Almost everybody would trade their pick for my quarterback. Well, I don't think it was my quarterback. I think it was more my offensive lineman and my wide receiver. So the idea is, all right, if you see a guy in the draft that you like, and you see that there's a player down here that you would trade, you can trade that player for that pick, and then you're on the clock and you get to make a draft pick. So this simulates that idea of like the NFL draft, when whoever's on the clock, all anybody ever talks about is who would they pick, and is any team trying to move up to get that pick. That's what's going on here. So like for my pick, I want that tight end guy because I want to play him at wide receiver as a blocking wide receiver 3. So I just highlight him. I make the pick. And now it's the Beast is on the clock. And you can see all of a sudden this is full of players. When an AI team gets on the clock, it automatically highlights the player they're interested in. So this is kind of a coach's recommendation highlight. Each team's coach does rate players differently. It's subtle, but it's enough to, like, if you look at the order here, salary is based on the player's natural talent. But these are ranked by how the Beast coach thinks how good he thinks they are, and he rated. Well, actually, he rates them pretty much exactly the way they're ordered. So, like a team that would, the way this will show up most is like my team likes running quarterbacks. Most teams like passing quarterbacks. So when my team's on the clock, running quarterbacks are going to be really high. When everybody else is on the clock, those quarterbacks are going to be really low. Excuse me. Yeah, some coffee in my throat. Yeah, it's deep. It's very subtle. I really like the system. This is my favorite part about this game, is being able to do that, and that's what I want to carry forward to the coach game. I love it though. Like, this is really cool. This is the cool part. Like the Beast are gonna pick this guy. That's who they want. Looks like maybe for defensive line, maybe for linebacker. But they would trade that pick for these 5 guys. And I can decide, do I want to trade up or not? Yeah. 2.5 years now, I think. Yeah, like 2.5 years I've been working on this game. Plus, I took a lot of this stuff, this coach management stuff, from WigFL, which was the old tech sim that I wrote many years back in Excel and Visual Basic 6. So you could say I've been working on this for a really long time. Yeah, I'm not trading up for that though. Part-time. Yeah, it was part-time. Well, I've been laid off quite a few times, so it goes from part-time to full-time to part-time to full-time. Yeah, I added up. I did a calculation and I added up how long, if it was full-time, have I actually been working on this game. And I think it comes out to like full-time something like 6 months. But that's not counting what I leveraged from previous tech sim stuff. That's kind of why I'm so amped up to get to the next game, because this one was really a can I even do this? And then I learned along the way, and now I know so much more than I knew then that I'm like, okay, I can't fix this. I gotta move on to the next thing. What are you talking about? She totally does. Everybody in my family, nobody in my family likes football. Like I said, my son just always clowns me about, when are you gonna make something fun? Yeah, I don't have any. I can't. I talked to her about it. She's like, "Oh, that's nice," and then she wants to go like do something else. She's just not interested at all. She tries to be interested, just can't. APFE from scratch and full time. Yeah, I wrote a Madden way back when I wrote a Madden. Hang on a second. Basically, something kind of like APFE except for Madden, where it would pull. Well, actually, this is what it did. It would pull players out of front office football. It would convert that to a Madden file and then import it into Madden for the PC so that you could play your front office football team in Madden. And God, that took me like 6 months just to do that. Yeah, writing utilities is not easy. That was the last time I wrote a utility because that was so frustrating and so hard that I thought, if I'm putting this kind of time in, let's just write a game. Write it from scratch. So at least at least at the end of the day, I'm not playing Madden. Those white things behind me? Wait, I gotta check the video. What are you looking at? Oh, those are rocks. These things? Yeah, those are rocks. Yeah, I got this weird little... So, we didn't build this house. There's this weird little side room. And, like, right here... Let me make sure I can see it. Yeah, right here, there used to be a patio door, and it was surrounded by rocks. And it makes no sense, because if you go out that patio door, there's like a huge bush right there. So I walled it up. But the rocks are still there. So I didn't take out all the rocks because they're actually rocks. Like, I thought they were going to be a facade and I could just take it down. So, like, there's one little section that I took down. They're boulders like that big. They're so big I can't even carry them. They're like 100 pounds or more. It's ridiculous. And I got them everywhere. So we painted them white. Yeah, it's so bad. Yeah, they're ugly, and they're so big that they would be super dangerous to try to take them down again, because I almost killed myself. So we just said, we'll just paint them white. Nobody uses that room anyways. And now it's my office. That's funny. Alright, let me finish up my draft here. Everybody sucks at this part of the draft. Too funny, I know. Yeah, our house is so weird. We got stuff like that all over the place. We just, like, how much time and money do you want to put into stuff like that? So we just, we got more important things to worry about. Paint the rocks white and move on. Just paint them white and move on. Pick another D lineman. Actually, no, I'm gonna pick special teamers. I'm totally loving. Nope, I'm gonna pick that D lineman. All right, finish that out. $0. Yep. That's the right amount to spend on stuff like that. All right. I am probably not going to spend a lot of money in free agency. No. I would buy a D lineman, though. Oh, man. Who's a safety? Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Yes, please. I'll buy this guy. Let's see how this goes. Let me check. D-line. Nah, I'm gonna go all in on this safety. Oh, nice. Come on. No, Nobody else needs a safety. Awesome. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Alright, $41 for my last player. I do want to see if I could find a better run blocking wide receiver than I got. And I don't want to spend the money on it though. So what I'm going to do is let's see how the D lineman went. Let's just find a rent a lineman. Actually, you know what? Let's find a special teamer. Actually, let's wait till the end of free agency. I'm not going to tie up the money. What I want to do is have a cheap guy for 1 year, and then I can re-sign him. If I really like him, I'll re-sign him. There we go. Finish free agency. Good deal. Save that. Let's check the team. We'll take suggestions at wide receiver. Yeah, we'll even take wide receiver 2 suggestions. D-line, linebacker 1, we're going to keep. Linebacker 2, we're going to keep. Corner 1, we're going to keep. Corner 2, we're going to keep. Let's take suggestions everywhere else. Alright, that guy was good. They picked the wrong guy for wide receiver 3. This guy's wide receiver 3. Uh-oh, what did I do? This guy is wide receiver 3. Gotta run. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna finish up pretty soon anyways. I gotta get back to working on that depth chart thing now that I've decided what I'm gonna do. See you later. Safety 1, safety 2. My special teams has gotta be rock solid now. Oh my god. Oh my god. Who's my kick returner? Oh. This is gonna be amazing. Actually, I'm gonna make it even better. Watch this. Let's move. I'm gonna get a new punt returner because I don't really care that much about punt return. I just want somebody functional. Oh, position, special teams. Yeah, Duffy, putting him on special teams. Who's kick returning? Oh, man. This is going to be an amazing special teams unit. Unbelievable. I'm super excited about this. All right, let's see how my guys developed. 85, 88. That's awesome. Dusty Bell is complete garbage now. Butler, Griffin, Ramirez. I might want to extend Griffin. Oh, 1 year? Yeah, I'll extend him for 1 year. Wayne Smith. Alright, 2 years is fine. Chase Bauer. I don't think I'm going to extend him. Well, $18 though. Shannon, 1 year. We'll give him a year. McDowell, definitely hanging on to. Gives me 4 free agents. No, my D-line's not good enough to hang on to him. Yeah, that works. Alright, save. Now, I'm not going to play right now. I'm going to watch it back, which should be pretty quick. A lot of it was cool depth chart discussion. And then I'm going to basically implement everything we talked about when it comes to depth charting, because I finally got to talk it through. That was nice. So, cool. I'll probably, I don't know, I may come back with another stream today if I didn't find anything in the game. Maybe if I get totally into the coach game and I'm getting some of that stuff ready to go, then I might just get lost in the rabbit hole and get stuck there. But we'll see. In any case, I don't have enough on the list right now for another build. So probably the way things are looking, unless anything really, I guess, dramatic pops up with roster management, the next, I may just batch everything for the next big build, which will be the 1.0, or probably the right before 1.0. I probably will do an incremental build before we go 1.0. But yeah, we're getting there, getting close to the exiting early access. That'd be cool. We'll still take requests, we'll still do updates and things like that, but it'll be nice to get this out and get more people looking at it and playing it and things like that. So anyway, that's it for now. Now's the part where we stare awkwardly into the camera and sip Boba Fett coffee while we wait for the stream to catch up. I'm sure there's a better way to handle this, but, you know, I'm very engineer-like at heart. It's pure function, no style. That's me. Bye.